Welcome to Slow Home Studio. Too many people live in badly designed houses, and we want to change that.
Today we're going to be looking at our design solution for Catherine's house in Squamish, BC. You remember that it's quite a nice little house with a 1980s interior that's all angled and chopped up and all sorts of problems. So we've got some ideas. We want to build on the work that SN did earlier in the week. Thank you very much for submitting that plan and all of the conversations. We thought before we actually got to our solution, we'd talk about the principles behind our design thinking.
Yeah, it's very interesting because Catherine sort of drove the design idea, and what she said that was the most interesting thing is that she spends all of her time right in this area in the back because of the beautiful view. They don't spend hardly any time in the great room, which is pretty typical in the front, and they really have some functional issues with the spare room, which is really too small, and the mudroom, which is a small room off of the hallway from the garage.
Right. So we started out by thinking about what are the best areas of the house that we need to try and locate the major functions, and we really didn't think that this was the best place for a bedroom. That's where I think Catherine's scheme and also SN's scheme was, and we thought that that wasn't really right. This is the best space in the house. This is obviously number 2, and we need to try and get that bathroom out of that space because that bathroom over there is making the master bedroom too small and it doesn't need to have access to the back. And then we thought that this was actually the 3rd best space and that we should relegate the rest of this area to the services that don't need natural light and access to the outside.
Yeah, so as a strategy, this is what we came up with as a revised floor plan, and we did exactly that because obviously the garage has that big wall on the back of it that's shared, and so we put all of the service space in the house in that area, which included a brand new master ensuite with a side yard window and then a really big mudroom. Interesting because the mudroom shares access both from the front door and from the garage, which is great because you can come in either from the garage or the front and go into the space, take your boots off, sit on the bench, put everything away.
Now this is maybe a little bit larger mudroom than we would typically have in a house of this size, and it's driven by the fact that this is a renovation and we were trying to be very modest with the changes that we were making. So this is an existing wall, this is an existing wall, we just took out that weird 45-degree 80s corner. This is the existing wall of the mudroom, and we just eliminated that one wall that formed the hallway in order to be able to expand that room. So it's a little bit bigger, but nevertheless it still works. And by moving this master bathroom out, we see that we now have a good-sized master bedroom that takes up and takes advantage of that backyard.
Yeah, and of course the other big move, of course, was to put the spare room in the great room position before, which wasn't so great because nobody ever went in there.
And we have to say, Catherine, I'm not sure if you're going to like this idea. It's a little bit of a stretch maybe from what you've been thinking about with the house, so looking forward to your ideas about this.
Yeah, I mean, the idea is really simple. I mean, before it was too big as a living space, but when you proportion it as a bedroom/office and then put your guest bathroom there, it works really, really well. And the nice thing about it is that it is actually its sort of own entity unto itself. It's separated from both the living and the dining space and the master bedroom. So it's an away space both for someone who wants to be in there as a study because it's away from everything else. And if you have guests, of course, you can send your guests into that area, and it's almost like it's a separate wing to the house.
Exactly. We all know that we like to have guests, but we don't like to have guests all the time underfoot. And so this way it really does, as Matthew say, create in a small house 2 different zones, one for the homeowner and one for the guest. The other thing you'll notice is that we did turn the bathroom door access and the bedroom access over into this little alcove that was part of the existing corner here so that it provides privacy from the principal living areas, doesn't require that we have to change any of the windows. We have not changed any of the outside windows in the house, left all of those, and you can see in this guest room we do have a Murphy bed with some storage on either side, and then there's space for a desk.
Yeah, and then the last thing, of course, was there was a structural issue with the fireplace, and so we know, because the fireplace was said that element is structural, that we are going to have some sort of a column somewhere in the main space, and we just put it as a round column here. It works well with the dining space. It could move up or down, and it doesn't really affect the floor plan.
That's right. So, Catherine, very interested to get your feedback on this, other feedback from other viewers to see what you think about this plan, and we'll continue our conversation in the next few days.
See you next time.